Hello, this is Tammy with Beaded Wooden Socks and More. When I'm not beading, I'm crocheting. When I'm not crocheting, I'm beading. First off and foremost, before I get started on anything else, this channel is to learn about me, my beading, the beading that I create, design, or make, and crocheting. Both crafts are used as physical therapy for my wrist, which I had surgery on back in September 2016. And you'll find more about that in my first video, 10 non-yarny things about me. Okay? This is not a giveaway channel. I cannot afford a giveaway anytime soon or in the future right now. Maybe in the very distant future, but not in the immediate future at this point in time. So I'm sorry. If you're here for giveaways and not for me, then I'm going to ask that you please go ahead and move to another channel, because I do not want suggestions or recommendations that at this point in subscribers or at this point in subscribers, you need to have a giveaway. If a giveaway is the only reason why you will stay to visit with me and to see how I have been doing or to see what projects I've been working on, then please go ahead and unsubscribe and go someplace else. It doesn't matter, okay? This is about me, not giveaways, okay? All right. That being said, we'll go ahead and move on to finished objects. The first is this shawl / scarf by Makeanddocrew called the Dawn to Dusk. It's very nice. The color came out nice on this one. I used this, okay, and I used this color scheme, Hecate. And I found that even with the 10% wool that's in it, or 20%, sorry, with the 20% wool that's in it, my hands were not bothered with the yarn. So information for those that have wool allergies. If you feel that you don't want to try it, just to be safe, that's understandable. Okay? All right. This shawl / scarf comes in 2 sizes. The large is 45 eyelets from point to top, and the small is 40 eyelets from point to top. Okay? And this is actually a copy of her previous scarf pattern called Desert Winds Triangle that has only 32 eyelets in it, because it also uses a bigger hook, and she used a different yarn for that one, so it came out bigger. But it's a nice pattern, and it's one of those that if you're looking for something mindless, there you go. Okay. Thank you, Jess, for the pattern. It is quite lovely. And just to let you know, from the pattern itself, whether it was the Dawn to Dusk or the Desert Triangle, as it is extremely mindless, I have done this pattern 7 times now. Just a heads up, 7 times now I've done this pattern. That's how mindless it can get for you. Okay, excuse my head while I step out for a moment and come back in. With this one, I made a small change to the pattern. Just one little detail. That was it. Nothing major. Again, I used the Woolies cakes, and this one is called Poseidon. Okay? And when I started this one, I found I was starting with the last color in the color scheme, which was a dark gray. And as I went ahead and did up the pattern, I got to about 4-5 inches of the pattern and suddenly just had a color change right out of the blue. I mean, it just went from dark gray suddenly to the very first color, this like chiffon lime. Okay, And I shared the start of the pattern with some ladies that I meet with on Zoom, and the consensus was pretty much the same, is if it's just that small amount, go ahead and take that portion out and restart the pattern and then run with it that way. And I thought, okay, I can do that. And I, because it was even a thought that I was having, and I shared it with them and they agreed. So this is the start of the the lightest color in that run. And as we go through, it changes into the other greens. And then changes into the darker green, into the blue and the turquoise, and then into the dark, dark blue. And at this point, because the gray came out at the last 7 inches on the end and did not make the run back for the 2 rows, I went ahead and took it out and finished it off on row 2 or row 3 and left it that with all of this. Okay, the change that I made to this one was that there are no decreases. It's just one long increase. One long increase. That's it. And I think it came out really, really nice. So it is the same pattern, just no decreases. And I've been trying to get in touch with Jess to ask her how I would post this as a separate design, as a collaboration or something. I don't know. I haven't heard from her yet. So I'm still waiting to hear back. You know, it came out really nice. It's got good length in it, but it's more of an asymmetrical type run, and it's just gorgeous. It really is. Okay, so I may find another way to try and get in touch with her, but hopefully someone will pass this on and she'll see it. All right. Okay. In addition, I wanted to create some brooches, but I didn't want to go and buy the sparkly ones because sometimes those things can be upwards of $5 a piece. They're nice and beautiful and all, but I didn't want to take away from the shawls themselves or the scarves themselves. So I remembered another podcaster by the name of Fiber Spider. He made what were called crocheted brooches, and that's the 2 I have. Okay, 1 each using the leftover yarn from each one. Okay. And the one lesson learned, he used wood or he suggests plastic. My Walmart didn't carry either one, so I improvised with using metal. Well, they're a little on the heavy side, and the stitches like to keep rotating. So lesson learned is wood or plastic. So what I may need to do in the future is go by either Michael's or Joann's, and I have to go over to Boise to do that, is pick up macrame rings, which I think would be absolutely perfect because they always use wood in their macrame. So I'll inquire about that when the next time I go to Boise and see what I can find. In addition, Fiber Spider used a single crochet around his rings. I used a half double crochet on both, and it gives it just a little bit more fullness in my opinion. It looks good. So I have the little dowel sticks and all. Now all I've got to do is put them on their perspective shawls, and away they go. And both of these shawls are actually being donated to the Save Our Seniors Prime Rib Dinner and Auction, which will be held June 8th in the Pine Featherville area. And they will go into that event. So whoever gets them, I hope they enjoy them and have a lot of fun with them. Okay? All right. Next up, are some finished objects for Llama Mama Kayla's Yarn Bingo, which I've been having a lot of fun with that. Okay. I currently have, excuse me, just the 3 items at the moment. The first is a baby doll. This pattern is from Jayda and Stitches baby doll pattern, and I will put the link to her tutorial for this in the description box along with all the others. Okay, all the other ones will also have links to the items. And her name is Mary, and Mary traveled with me yesterday to town down to Mountain Home, and she joined us for breakfast and decided that she wanted the rest of my corned beef hash. And her and I had a little talk. You know, that's mine, not yours. Well, after I was done eating, she decided the leftovers were hers. So we'll see how that works out. Just having a lot of fun with that. And I left it featureless, no faces, no hair, no nothing, in the event that when she's out, I accidentally drop her and a little kid walks by and picks it up and walks off with it, that it's not going to be a problem for the child to play with. That was another thing I was thinking about. So I went ahead and left it featureless for that purpose. So it's just a matter of just hanging on to her, or hopefully not losing her and having someone else find her. So that's peace of mind there. Okay, for the next thing was a coaster in your favorite color. Well, I asked about a cozy, and then I kept fighting with the pattern, so I just did 3 rounds. That's it. 3 rounds in Purple Passion from Mainstay. So there's my coaster. And then one of the boxes was a doily. And I kind of did this one off the top of my head. This is Bernat Baby Sport Blossom. And I just started some rounds and then just went to one specific stitch after the 3rd round and just got it so big, and I decided, okay, there's my doily. All right. Now, on the flip side of that color of yarn, the next project I'm going to show you, also by Makeanddocrew, is the Rising Tide Shawl. And I finally got down to the waves on the end. Yay, all those puff stitches are done. And Jess used in her sample a ice cream yarn from Lion Brand. And then she matched it up with a yarn from Lion Brand called Mandala Wishing Well. And she put the two together to make her Rising Tide shawl. Well, when she mentioned ice cream, the one thing I remembered about this color is that it looks like Neapolitan ice cream, but in softer shades. And that's what I have. Sorry. And that's what it looks like, is Neapolitan ice cream in softer shades. And I finally got down to the end. I picked up a mandala called Fairy, which had a brown and this red. And to me, that looks like chocolate syrup and strawberries. And then I made it out to the purple. Now the wave section here on the end has 8 full rows, and I am on row 5. I'm on row 5. There it is. And the one thing about the pattern that I found I was having a little bit of issue with is that 7 chains with 7 single crochets. I found that my colors were showing through right there. So I'm still doing 7 chains, but I'm doing 9 single crochets instead. And it seems to work a little bit better with covering those ends up from the previous row. Okay, but that's how that is looking right there. Okay, looks really nice. And I still have quite a bit left, but I also still have 4 more wave rows to go. And I'm looking forward to getting this one done. Okay. This item here is Holly from Proper Pineapple. This is her mystery cow that she's doing. And it was a good thing that I saw someone else's clue too and realized that if that was the case, I needed to rearrange my colors a little bit. Originally, it was going to be tiny tulips followed by pink, followed by green, followed by blue. However, like I said, when I saw the second clue that someone else was doing, I realized I need to go back and reread that pattern again, and found that one color you need a lot more of the other 3 because it will be the greatest amount used. So I went ahead and flipped my colors around a little bit so that my tiny tulips ends up being my clue 2 color. So this is where I'm at with it. Can't wait to get this one finished. And I also found doing this pattern that the puff stitches in Holly's pattern are not the same puff stitches in Makeanddocrew, because in Makeanddocrew you yarn over 3 times, pull through 6, pull through 2, chain 1. In Holly's you yarn over 4 times, go through all 9 stitches and chain 1, and then do the next stitch. So the one challenge I was having between the 2 was making sure that the puff stitches for the right pattern were being done. So definitely something to think about. Okay, so sometime later today I'll be working on that. Oh,